G'day gamers, Aussie Wargamer here in Moree, Australia, and welcome to my channel. On this episode, I want to start a series of maybe 3 or 4 episodes about choosing, theming, and building an army. I'll be framing it in the context of Age of Sigmar, but I reckon the principles could apply to just about any army-based tabletop wargame. I've been playing my Death Army in Age of Sigmar since it was vampire counts back in 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy, and it's the only army I've ever played. I decided toward the end of last year that I wanted to start a second army. Nothing had grabbed me the way Death did, so I needed to figure out what I wanted to collect. There's a whole bunch of considerations when choosing a new army, and it's going to be different for everyone, but here's my own experience. I'm a hobbyist more than a gamer, so the first thing I always think about is the models. Firstly, I look at the overall aesthetic. Do I like the way the army looks? Is there a specific model I like the look of? Are they going to be models I'll enjoy painting? Do I have an idea for a theme? And how convertible are they? That's important for me because converting minis is my favourite part of the hobby. At this point, I jumped on Pinterest and had a look for some inspiration. I love Pinterest for this because there's so many great minis and I can organise the images efficiently and in one space. I loved what people had done with Sylvaneth, theming them around seasons. I also saw a converted Bastiladon that looked rad, and the Tengors had a cool aesthetic I liked and thought would be a fun to model. I'll talk about theming an army in the next part of the series, but I had a theme in mind for each of my choices. So, based on the mini range, I narrowed it down to 3 armies: Sylvaneth, Seraphon, and Tzeentch. Next, I looked at the lore for each army. I read through the battle tomes, watched YouTube videos. I asked myself, do I like the story behind them? Is there scope for adding my own ideas? Is there any characters I want to take? At this point, I was still stuck between the Sylvaneth and Tzeentch. So, to make my final decision, I needed to think about how I would play them. I like a good bit of magic, so both those armies fit into that criteria. So I jumped online and read up on how different people play the armies. The Grand Alliance forums are great for that. I also spent a bit of time building some lists, looking at units with cool rules and stuff that would work with the things I wanted to build and paint. I made 3 or 4 lists for each army. The final deciding factor was some of the people in my club play 40k, and I thought it'd be cool to have an army that I can use for either game. So I decided to run with Tzeentch so I could use me minis for both systems. So to sum it up, here's some questions you might ask yourself when building an army. For the models, do I like their aesthetic? Do I like their look? Is there a specific model I like? Am I going to have fun painting them? How convertible are they? Do I have an idea for a theme? In terms of the lore or the background, the fluff, do I like the story behind them? Is there scope for adding my own ideas? Are there any characters I might want to include? And considerations for gameplay. Will I enjoy playing them? Will they be fun? Can I build a list I like? Can I use them in more than one system? So lots of things to think about there. Well, that's all from me. I have part 2 of the series up next week about theming your army. As always, stay tuned if you want to hear more of my voice. Catch us later.